Once a year on Rosh Hashanah, all of us are accustomed to sitting at the table and welcoming in the new year purposefully with challahs that are round shape in contrast to the other shapes during the course of the rest of the year. And we take a piece of challah and we, of course, place honey on it as well, or we dip it in honey. Asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu that it should be a sweet year when we turn to God and we ask Him for everything, for food, every form of sustenance, for shelter, for well-being, for health, for every single bracha that HaKadosh Baruch Hu could bestow upon us so that we can feel closer to Him. And I remember growing up as a child and wondering why the challahs had to be round and why they were being dipped in honey. And the answer that was supplied to me was because we are closing a year, bringing it full circle, and about to begin a new one, a new cycle. And we're taking that round challah and we're dipping it into honey in order that it should be a sweet new year. That made sense to me, it still does. But I believe that this Parsha of Beshalach this week offers us another explanation. When Klal Yisrael were journeying through the desert, there were so many obstacles that they were confronted with. They had no shelter, no roof over their heads. They had no water supply in the desert. And of course, they had no food and no place to buy food from. And we are told that they had the shelter provided by the Anonei yaakov, the clouds surrounding them and keeping them at a distance from anything that could have brought harm upon them. They had the water supplied by the rolling rock, as it were, the rolling well of Miriam. And of course, in this week's Sedra, they are supplied with the manna from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that man, we are told, tasted like everything. But in describing that man, we are told, Vayikru Beis Yisrael Shmo man, they called it man, V'hu kizera gad lavan, it was round like a coriander seed and white. The taimo and its taste, kitzapichas bidvash. It could taste like anything that a person wanted, but the pasuk tells us that inherently and innately, it was like kitzapichas bidvash. What is kitzapichas bidvash? The Targum Yonasan ben Uziel says, Ka'ashishian bidvash. And the Perush Yonasan, who is explaining the Targum Yonasan, explains Perush, meaning gluskos chalos devash. They were breads, round as described by the pasuk, and they tasted like honey. Oh, hamoshkin osam bidvash, or like breads that would be dipped in honey. And these breads that were dipped in honey, we are told in the Gemara Yuma by Rabbi, in the name of Rabbi Akiva, that this was, the pasuk states, lechem abirim ochalish. This was lechem, this was bread shemalachei hasharis, that the malachei hasharis ochlanoso. Angels don't eat. What do angels eat? What food do angels eat? They are nehenin, they benefit from the ziv ashchina, from the ray of the Almighty of Hashem Yisparach. And in benefiting from that, they feel so close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Well, this man, evidently, Lechem Abirim, this man brought Klal Yisrael closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu because they knew that it came directly from Him, from the heavens, that anything that they wanted to taste was to be found therein. And they felt the concern and the compassion, and they felt the love that HaKadosh Baruch Hu enwrapped them in by providing this on a daily basis. And they had that water from the well of Miriam. And they had the constant clouds that protected them. And they had clothing that was wash and wear, one set that lasted them for 40 years. And why was that mun white? Well, the Maharal explains that the reason that Moshe Rabbeinu, when he consecrated the Mishkan and he served in it prior to Aharon, as a Kohen Gadol, as it were, and he wore white, the Maharal explains because white, the color white, she'in yanohu ki lavan kol al kol advanim, because within the color white there is to be found all of the other colors on the color spectrum. So just perhaps on Rosh Hashanah, when we turn to Kadosh Baruch Hu and we ask Him for what? For food, for shelter, protection, from all of the things that can do us harm, for parnasa, for water, for all the things that we need for life itself, and for the ability to taste the sweetness in our life day-to-day experience, and to feel his presence near us. Maybe that's why we take challahs that are round. Challahs baked with honey, or challahs dipped in honey. To say to Kodesh Baruch Hu, we want to return a little bit, a shtickle to that existence of being within your proximity and feeling your shelter, your surrounding clouds, and feeling and understanding and recognizing that anything that we are able to purchase by the money that we make, by the living that we eke out, really comes directly from you, from the heavens. We want to feel ourselves living somewhat a manna-like existence. The Shabbos Kodesh, when you make hamotzi on challahs that are not round, and you don't have the honey there, remind yourself where everything comes from the Eibishter, and think about what we do on Rosh Hashanah. Have a wonderful Shabbos.